Mewgenics patch 1.1 just came out, and I'm not kidding, it's crazy. Mage and Tinker got so many buffs. Also, 07, rip in peace, Hunter. We will remember you. Boys, the patch is crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this update. What you hate, what you love. Do you love me? Will you subscribe to me? Anyways, enjoy the patch note stuff. It's a crazy. Upgrading and house changes. Let's just go down the list. So it looks like a lot of just fixing a few things. The effects of stimulation are now reduced the more inbred a cat is. Because what stimulation is, it basically makes it so the cat that is born is more likely to take the better stats from their parent cats. And they're saying now this is reduced based off the inbredness of a cat. Okay. You don't want to have inbred cats anymore? What the heck? The chances of inheriting the parent's birth defect are significantly increased the more inbred the cat is. This is actually a good change, because I have a few cats in my house right now that have the dwarf cat syndrome or whatever. So now I can spread that more easily, which is kind of sick. Mutation stat will no longer reroll any existing mutations or birth defects. Ooh. Okay. This is actually a pretty big change, because I know some people, even like me, I was getting to a point, because cats can only have a maximum of 10 mutations on them. So what people have done before is take their cats that have like 8 good mutations and 2 bad mutations, put them in a mutation room with a high mutation stat, and basically it made it so those 2 bad mutations were guaranteed to be re-rolled into good mutations. But now it looks like there's no way to remove those bad mutations from those good cats. So you basically just gonna make sure they're born good. The mutation stat will no longer roll simple mutations till above 10. Okay. So now the mutation stat is limiting what it mutates. Interesting. More mutation beyond this will increase the chance of rolling mutations with effects. Interesting. Okay. Heads that have 1 eye, eyebrow, or ear, example of Cyclops, will no longer also count as the missing birth defect for their eye. I'm not sure what this means exactly. Okay, I have like 200 hours in the game now. I don't know what that means. Chance of inheriting a voice from a parent is now 75%. It's at 98%. Okay, I know there were a lot of complaints about the voice thing here, mainly because if you had a cat, like if you had one good cat, and that was like the catalyst for the rest of your house, your entire house just sounded like one single cat. I wish they would change this. I wish they would make it just so it's so the kitten that's born, it's just random. It doesn't take after the parent. That, or it's like a small, like a 25% chance to take after the parent. I feel like even that change would be better. Just for more variety amongst your cats. Okay, some event changes. All right. Baphomet removed bad outcomes from sacrifice. Removed bad outcomes from sacrifice and lose 10 HP options. Really? Okay. Let me actually pull it up. Let me pull up the wiki. So this is the Baphomet event. There's always good outcomes. There's always rare good outcomes. There's always just bad outcomes, depending on if you choose all your cats lose 10 HP, if you choose to sacrifice yourself, or if you choose to leave. But basically, they're saying here with this update, it removed the bad outcome from both sacrifice and 10 HP options, which were the cat just dies for sacrifice yourself, and the bad outcome is the party takes 10 damage. I'm curious if they replaced these with anything else, because they said they just removed the bad outcomes from sacrifice and lose 10 HP options. So is this just gone? I guess you're guaranteed to get the stats up or the extra stuff from both of them now. Okay, so it's still like you still don't really want to sacrifice your cat, but now I guess if you do, you're not as punished, which I guess is nice. Next one is the Steven fetus. Remove deja vu from bad event outcome and replaced with a new pool of disorders for it. Interesting. So I guess Steven will now give you random disorders instead of always just deja vu when you encounter him. Okay. Next up, sacrificial altar. Removed bad outcomes from sacrificing cats. Okay, same thing as Baphomet. Honestly, I think that's a good change. Itchies and Wheezies. Itchies now gives you a forever flea familiar, and Wheezies now gives you +2 luck. Okay, let me look what this did before, because I am curious, actually. Interesting. So this site's not saying what the good outcomes were, so I can't really compare it to that. Or are these always the outcomes? I'm curious if this means there has to be good or bad outcomes, right? Okay, if Forever Flea Familiar seems great, and Wheezies with +2 luck is actually great too. So I guess going forward, if you see Itchies and Wheezies, fellas, you always go Wheezies. +2 luck if you win that. Seems crazy. Next up, Insatiable Rage Tragedy. I believe this is the one that gave madness. It no longer gives blood frenzy. Let me look up exactly what this event was. All right, I can't find the exact event on the actual events wiki itself, but it sounds like the Insatiable Rage event no longer gives you the madness debuff forever, which is actually a great change. But this is blood frenzy. But blood frenzy was the debuff. When you kill any unit, gain a bonus turn with madness. Yeah, you don't need to kill things with it, but the fact that you got madness was such a bad debuff to get, and I guess this just made it so it's happening less often, or you get madness less often from events, which I agree with. Next up, in Infestation Weather Event, units now only spawn Charmed Maggots when killed. Because the Infestation Weather Event before, all non-tiny units explode into maggots or flies when they die. But now, units now only spawn Charmed Maggots when killed. So it went from spawning enemy flies and maggots to now it only spawns Charmed Maggots when killed. So wait, this is now a good event. Well, not a good event, because again, corpses still explode on death, right? Which may not be a good thing for your own cats. But the fact that they no longer spawn enemies is nice. Okay, so next up, a few changes to disorders and parasites. Hypersomnia. Hypersomnia, start each battle asleep and with full health. But now it fixed the order that sleep applies so that the passives and items affecting the sleep can trigger correctly. Okay, just a bug fix on hypersomnia to fix the order. So if you have something that synergizes with the sleep, it goes off correctly. That makes sense. Malaria now only reduces constitution. Wasn't malaria the one before that reduced your intelligence, and if you ever got to 0, you just died? At the end of each battle, all of your stats are permanently reduced by 1. So now it's only constitution. When your constitution is 0 or less, start each battle down. Okay. So this is now, it's still bad, but at least it's not giving you an all stats down anymore. So you know what? I'll take it. Next up is Naglaria. Foul. I don't even know what this one is. This is the one where your dex becomes insane or becomes 0. I don't even remember. Become AI controlled instead of dead at 0 intelligence. I gotta remember the names of these things, but how do I even say this? Okay, so this is the same kind of one as the other one, as malaria, but plus 0 intelligence, give 1 brace, gain -1 intelligence at the end of each battle permanently. You get a shield and brace at the end of each battle. If your intelligence is 0 or less, you start each battle downed, but now become AI controlled instead of dead at a 0 intelligence. Interesting. I don't mind this actually, because honestly, if you get additional brace at the end of each battle permanently, like starting each battle with like 5 brace and 10 shield or whatever, yeah, you're AI controlled, but you're still a body that can take damage depending on who gets this. This isn't the worst thing ever anymore. I mean, again, before, this is as terrible as malaria, because again, if you're at 0 constitution, you just don't get to be in the battle. And it was the same kind of thing for this as well, but now it's not the worst thing ever. I wouldn't mind getting this. Well, it would still be a pain, but not as much as my guy can still, be part of the team. All right, next up is Schrodinger's Syndrome, a +1 to all stats and get an extra turn at the start of battle. Huh? Hold on. What did this do? That just seems like a good... Those are all good words I like to hear. What is this? What it did before. 50% chance to start each battle dead or alive with max HP and an all stats up. So now, instead of... I'm assuming it's still going to be the 50% chance to start each battle dead or alive. But when you get the 50% chance to start each battle alive, you get +1 to all stats. You get an all stats up still, and you gain an extra turn. Interesting. Okay, it's still not great. But, I mean, from reading this, it sounds crazy. But a 50-50 chance to just not be in the game seems a little much. But it's fine. And sociopathy. Because what it did before is +10 charisma. You have madness on your first turn. Terrible. But now it's -5 charisma, +5 intelligence. So I'm assuming this -5 charisma, +5 intelligence is completely overtaking this line, because I'm assuming this update is fixing it so you do not get madness as often, because madness sucks, especially on first turn when every single cat is grouped up together. That seems terrible. So they're changing this to remove the madness altogether from sociopathy and instead giving it -5 charisma and +5 intelligence. Interesting, because before it was +10 charisma and now it's -5 charisma. Interesting. I don't mind that change either. Again, things that remove madness from me getting it involuntarily, I'll take it. If I can voluntarily take madness, if I know what I'm taking, that's fine. But it coming from diseases that you can't really decide when you get them, it is very much a pain. All right, so on to actual class changes. I'm curious what all changed between all the classes. Cleric, not much. To be fair, I think Cleric's in a fine spot. But Cleanse. Cleanse, what it did, removed all debuffs from units in an area. Okay, but this is now single target instead of an area, so a bit of a nerf. The range increased to compensate. So, okay, you can cast it from farther away. The upgrade changed to make it a large area. Interesting. So the buffer to it before, it just gave it so it gave everyone a holy shield as well, but now it made it so the base, what it is now, is the upgrade of the new Cleanse. I mean, it's still great. Cleanse is still a great ability. Again, being able to, remove all debuffs, specifically debuffs, is very good. I think it's a fine change. Nerfs it a little bit, but it's a good ability. Next is Open Wounds. Now deals magic damage. Ooh. Okay, Open Wounds, I believe, is the ability that's made it so the lower HP an enemy is, the more damage you did. So now this is magic damage. This won't affect much, but there are a few select enemies in the game that do not take magic damage. So the fact that this is now a magic damage is an overall nerf. I'm curious, since, again, it's 200 hours in the game apparently still isn't enough to completely understand everything. This magic damage means the damage this does is no longer going to scale with your strength stat, because typically a strength-based ability would scale off your strength stat. But now that it's magic damage, the damage you do is not going to scale proportionally to your strength number, which is, again, an overall nerf, which is a little stinky because, you know, I feel like I never really run Battle Cleric, but if I were to, this would be like the ability I would want to get because it's crazy good, but it's fine. Druid, barely any changes. They're getting buffs, -2 mana costs on Plant Mushroom. No nerfs at all. I know people are saying that, like, Druid is the best class in the game, and I get it. I understand it. But Plant Mushroom, spawn a glowing mushroom that restores mana to nearby units. Before it cost 6, now it costs 4. I think it's a fair change. And Summon Caterpillar, this is the one that just made it so you summoned a Caterpillar. And if the Caterpillar you summoned had a 5 all stats up, it turned into a guy. Before it cost 6, now it costs 5. Again, a few spells that I feel like Druids barely took, got a bit of a buff. I'll take it. Fighter, barely any changes as well, but Merciless no longer triggers during actions that cost movement points. Merciless, when you deal 10 or more damage in a single hit, gain 2 shield and refresh your movement action. Right, this is very good. But no longer triggers during actions that cost movement points. But basically, this is saying, so things like you walking and having trample and doing 10 or more damage is not going to proc Merciless. So I'm assuming this just ends loops that people can get with things like Trample, where they can kind of just walk through enemies back and forth until they just die, because it just refreshes itself. That makes sense. I think it's a fair change. Hunter changes. Oh god, a lot of things. All right. Ball of Spiders no longer scales with your dex. Ball of Spiders I never thought was a great ability. This is the one where if you shoot an enemy with it, it just spawns, I think, 3 or 4 spiders around the enemy. Yeah, spawns 3 spiderlings on impact. But now it says it does not scale, no longer scales damage with dex. It doesn't exactly read here, but I'm assuming the overall damage of the ability is going to go up since it no longer scales with your dex. So it's going to be a flat number. That would be my assumption. The Egg Sac Trap will cost less mana. This was spawns a spider egg trap that inflicts infested 4. Before it costed 5 mana, now it costs 4. Okay, so a small buff to it. Flea Shots no longer scales damage with dex, or same thing as Ball of Spiders, but Flea Shots, I believe, acted similarly. Shoot a flea at a unit. Makes sense. Before it had a base power of 2, I'm assuming the base power is going to go up since it no longer scales. Makes sense. Heavy Shots. Okay, Heavy Shot was the really, really good ability. Shoot a high damage shot with a 70% chance to miss. But there's a lot of abilities in the game that inflict marked that makes it so you cannot miss your shots. So because before it did 10 damage with 4 mana, now -2 damage, so only does 8 damage, 50% chance to miss, and +1 mana cost. So they're nerfing the damage. They're making it more likely to hit instead of only a 70% chance. Well, instead of a 70% chance to miss, it's now a 50% chance to miss, so better odds. But it costs more as well, so it's 5 mana. 5 mana for 8 damage with a 50-50. I mean, I think it needed a nerf. It was very, very good since, again, there are a lot of things that can negate the whole missing a basic attack or missing anything. Makes sense. Hunter's Boon. This is the one, I believe Hunter's Boon is the one that applied marked to a unit of your choice. No, I'm so sorry. When you kill an enemy, gain 5 mana. This is the one that was crazy because upgraded, when you kill an enemy, restore all of your mana. What do they do to my boy? What do they do to it? Now only triggers once per turn. No! But triggers off of any kill and not just enemies. Oh, okay. Like, okay. It sucks they're nerfing it, but it's, I mean, they're both nerfing it and kind of buffing it. This is fine. It's a little curious, but this is fine. Okay, because before you had to kill enemies, but now if you can kill your allies, you can take something like Flea Shot, right? Where it just spawns a flea and then just kill it, get your mana back and get more mana out of it. It's not a bad change to it, I think. I think this makes it a lot more balanced. All right, what's next? Scattershot, +3 mana cost. Upgrade no longer exempts allies from its radius. Oh, they murdered my boy. +3 mana on Scattershot. It costed 7, now it costs 10. 10 mana for Scattershot now. And if you didn't know, the upgrade to Scattershot was just a larger area, but there's subtext here that's not actually written down, where it would actually not target any ally even if they're in the area of effect. But now it will, and it costs 10. I would still think it's a great ability. It's still a really good ability, but costing 10 is a lot. So you have to commit a bit more to it. I think these are fair changes out of all the classes so far. They freaking got the Hunter, boys. All right, next up is Mage. I'm expecting a whole fucking wall of text with Mage. Oh, I was not wrong. Oh, God. Okay. Mage basic attack has +2 range. That's really good because the issue with the mage basic attack is that it's not a lodged or it's not a lobbed attack like the hunter. Because hunter, you can shoot over stuff. The mage has to shoot through stuff. So if your ally's in the way, it's not going through your ally unless you hit your ally. So giving it +2 range is very nice. Blizzard reworked to deal very high damage with 100% freeze. Okay, what do you mean by reworked? Because what it did before, this was like the straight line ability, right? Deal ice damage in a wide line with knockback 1 that inflicts slow and has a 50% chance to freeze. But now it does more damage with a guaranteed freeze chance. Interesting. I wish it stated here, but I want to know what is very high damage? How much damage is very high damage? What is the range looking like? Is it still a line? I'm curious how this works now, and no slows. It doesn't slow anymore, but guaranteed freeze, very high damage. I'm curious if this is single target. I'm curious if this is a straight line like the wind gust is. If it's still like a 3-line thing, I have no idea. Bolt is getting extra range. Burning Paw is getting extra burn. Lightning Bolt, 25% chance to stun. Again, I'm assuming most things with range are going to scale with your basic attack range now. So since your basic attack now has +2 range, things that needed extra range are going to match that. So Bolt went up, Fire Blast went up, Fire Bolt went up. The Burning Paws inflicts more burn. I believe Burning Paws was a melee ability, correct? No. It's just your passive. Okay, it's the passive. Your basic attack inflicts 1 burn. Now it inflicts 2 burn. And then instead of burn 3 for the upgrade, the upgrade's +2 burn. I'm guessing it's 5 here. So it's going to be from burn 2 to burn 5. That's not a bad change. Just more ways to apply burn is fine. Firebolts. Which one is Firebolt? Again, it gets more range, but also gets 1 more damage to it. Can cast a fire/electric spell that inflicts burn 1 and a 50% chance to inflict stun on an X-shaped area. So this is doing 1 more damage because before it had a power of 3, now it's going to have a power of 4. That makes sense, doing a little more damage. Now 5. 5 is, I do like 5. The trigger of 5 is now exactly 5 mana or HP. Not a crazy change. It is an overall buff, but again, what 5 did before, when you end your turn with exactly 5 mana and only mana, gain 5 shield and temporarily gain 5 kinetic spikes until the end of your next turn. Again, 5 is very hard to get off. When you can get it to go off, it is very nice, but this is kind of its own little subclass of mage where you like, typically you don't even really want to get 5 on a mage unless you're going like a tanky mage that's actually getting in there. With the fact you're getting shield and kinetic spikes, you want to get hit with that, but now it's kind of synergizing with other stuff too, since it now works off HP and not just mana. So it's a decent change. I don't think it's going to change me taking it, but it's fine. The forbidden spells now have 2 separate disorder pools, a basic pool with a 90% chance and a crippling pool with a 10% chance. Psychosis is now in the crippling pool. Luck affects which pool is chosen. Okay, hold on. They pointed out Psychosis specifically because Psychosis is +1 to everything but gain madness for the rest of the battle after this unit ends their first turn. That's crazy. Okay, so basically every single forbidden spell like Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flood, Forbidden Frost now has a small chance of giving you a crippling disorder, but it looks like they group the disorder, so that's nice. So like the forbidden spells aren't going to be as bad anymore. I'm still not going to take them unless I'm super desperate, but the fact that I can kind of take them now as long as my luck is fine, I think wouldn't be bad. But again, it's still a 10% chance you're rolling every single time you use one of these spells to get a crippling thing, so that seems terrible. But again, Forbidden Flame burn increased, Forbidden Flood damage increased, so they just buffed all the forbidden spells as well. They didn't give us exact numbers. I wish they did, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever taken any of these. Just overall buff to the forbidden spells in general, I think it's nice. I mean, I am curious, like, it is 10% chance. It still seems pretty high in my opinion. Even with, like, if you have 10 luck, I would still be very wary about taking forbidden spells. So I'll see how this works out, I guess. But next up is 4. Triggers now, so same as 5. It now scales off your HP as well. I forget which one 4 is. 4 is when you have exactly 4 mana or now HP at the end of your turn. Gain 1 intelligence and 1 magic damage. Gotcha. Okay. It's not like a crazy change because, like, how often are you going to be at 4 HP and not heal yourself back up in some other means? So I think it's fine. I guess what you could do is you can go into fight with 1 constitution. I guess 1 or less constitution, because that means you just start HP, or your starting HP is going to be 4, which would then trigger 4. But that's like a whole lot of setup for it, but you could get it to work. Okay, next up is Freezer Burn +1 attack radius. Cast a fire or ice spell that inflicts burn 2, slow 2, and knockback 2 on all units around you. Okay. So basically this just made it so it's not just a melee distance kind of cast. It's now a little AoE around you. I think it's great. I think it's fine. Because I don't think people are going too often like a tanky mage like I've done before. This basically just makes it so it's a little better. Ice Paw is now +2 slow, 5% freeze chance. You can damage frozen units. Wait, that's huge. The fact that you can freeze certain enemies is great. It's like a pseudo stun, more or less. But Ice Pause, what it did before, your basic attack now deals ice damage, inflicts slow when it has a chance to freeze. But now this passive is going to make it so you can actually deal damage to frozen units. Whenever you upgrade it, it does +3 slow. Huge. Before it did slow too, they're basically just upgrading it overall. That seems nice, actually. Because now that you're able to deal damage to frozen units, it doesn't even say the basic attacks. It doesn't say basic attacks do damage to frozen units. You could just deal damage to frozen units. That seems amazing. That seems really good, actually. Icicle Zapper, additional damage to that guy. So a lot of just small buffs here and there for Mage. Extra damage here and there, extra range just to match a few things. Jolt has additional range to match the basic attack. That makes sense. Inferno now deals 8 damage, 8 burn. Upgrade does 12 damage and 10 burn. What did this do before? Deal fire damage and inflict burn 3 to all units in a large circle around you. So now instead of burn 3, it does 8 damage and 8 burn instead of 3 burn. I don't know how much damage it did before. Well, I guess 6. Overall buff. That's a crazy buff, actually. Again, it's kind of an AoE around the Mage. I don't think I've ever taken this myself, but this seems not bad. Now, the upgraded version, 8 power and 5 burn. Big upgrade. Just number go up, it do better. All right, next up is Lightning Pause. Lightning Pause is the same bit as Icicle Pause, but you do lightning damage. Additional damage with it. Extra stun chance. Whenever it's upgraded, you get +2 damage and extra stun chance as well. Basic attack deals 1 electric damage, +1 electric damage, has a chance to stun. 10% chance to stun. Wait, are they nerfing this? Is that what's happening here? Because before, it's a basic attack deals +1 electric damage and a 10% chance to stun. But now it's a 5% chance to stun with Lightning Pause. But the upgraded version is 2 damage and 7%. And before, it was 2 damage and 33%. It's a nerf! Guys, they're nerfing the Mage? Fair. You know what? Ice Pause got buffed, so Lightning Pause can get nerfed. You know, I'll take it. Ice Pause seem cooler. I'll say it. All right, next up is Light Up the Stage. +1 sparkle per turn. And the upgrade is now +3 sparkles per turn. I believe this is the one at the end of your turn. You shoot out sparkles based off the turn number. Yeah, at the end of your turn, emit a sparkle for each turn you've taken. Right, so now it's going to do 2 sparkles per turn you've taken. The upgrade is +3 sparkles per turn. Before, it was you gain kinetic spikes. Oh, it's just more sparkles. That seemed great, actually. Next up is Long Cast. Long Cast, +2 range to match, but also upgraded is +5 range and magic damage. Tile targeted spells get additional range, so basically just an overall buff to it. Makes sense. Next up is Overload. +2 damage, and the upgrade is +4 damage. Overload, I believe, worked with whenever you cast a spell, deal 1 random elemental damage to adjacent tiles. Huh. That is completely different from the current Overload. I'm curious if this is just an overall change. Like, is it going to still do the elemental damage to adjacent tiles plus the +2 damage? Or is it just going to be a flat 2 or 4 damage up? That I am curious about. I'm sure it's going to be both because it feels kind of lame to remove the whole bit it's doing. So I choose to believe it's doing both now, and it's just an overall buff to it. I'll take it. Next up is Shatter costing less mana. Shatter, I'm so bad about what all the spell names are. I'll get there. A melee attack that instantly kills frozen units if used on a boss or instead of removes frozen and deals damage to them instead. It just costs less. Huge. Before cost 4, now costs 3. That's actually great. Again, Freeze Mage is gonna be crazy this patch. All right, Freeze Mage. I'm telling you guys. Next up, Thunderburst. Now deals 12 damage, 50% chance to stun. Upgraded, 16 damage, 100% chance to stun. Thunderburst. There's, again, I feel like there's so many abilities. I've played so many Mage runs, but I do not recognize this. Shoot a lightning bolt in 8 directions with a 15% chance to stun. Before it did 1 damage for 12 mana. Now it does 12 damage. Mana cost isn't changing. So 12 damage for 12 mana with a 50% chance to stun. That seems crazy, no? Dude, when they said they were buffing the Mage, they're buffing the Mage. It's actually insane. But the upgrade does 16, so 4 more damage and a guaranteed stun. Before, it was a 25% chance to stun. And I guess the upgrade did 10 damage, but the unupgraded did 1. Or is this 7? This might be a 7. I'm going to be so honest. It's a 7. Either way, it's a 5 damage buff either way. It's still a really good buff. It's not a 1 to 12 situation. It's a 7 to 12 situation. But the stun chance going up that much is really, really good too. That's crazy good. But Try Attack, again, matching the additional range, but also +1 damage. Makes sense. Now, Try Attack is the one where it does basically every single elemental bit. So a chance to stun, slow, burn, everything. Basically, increasing the power of it alongside having the range. Makes sense. All right. Honestly, overall, Mage changes, it seems crazy. Was it only the Lightning Pause that got a nerf? Everything else got a pretty big buff. That's crazy. A lot of good changes. Next up is Monk. Monk, he got Fist of Fate. Repeat must hit different targets each time. Ooh. But normal Fist of Fate, teleport next to a random enemy, then switch stances and automatically attack it. The upgraded version of this, this has a chance to repeat multiple times. The repeat hit must hit different targets each time. Interesting. Okay, so you're not able to randomly teleport to the same enemy multiple times anymore with Fist of Fate. It needs to be different enemies for it to repeat. That makes sense. It does prevent like loops going on with single bosses or single enemies. Makes sense. Next one is switch stance. AI control now attempts to use this if it's out of all other actions. Okay, it's just some AI buff. I mean, sure. Necromancer is next. Evil Incarnate now costs 3 less mana. Is actually a good, big change. Evil Incarnate is the one that inflicted fear on all enemies. This one costed 15 mana before, now costs 12. I think it's a good buff overall. I never really used this. It was a lot of mana before. 15 mana cost. I mean, fear is great because, I mean, it takes up the enemy movement action, so it's kind of great. It's like more or less a mass stun to everything in the room if you think about it. But they can still attack you from a range, but again, they get their movements taken up. So, makes sense. But Flesh Golem as well, costing -3 HP cost per cast. -3 HP cost per cat to cast. You and your allies lose 10 HP, but now I guess it's going to be 7 HP. Summon a Flesh Golem with 1 random spell from each of those units. I've never actually used this before. I've seen this once before when playing, but I've never actually taken it. They're overall a buff to it, so losing less HP overall. That sounds fine. Next up is Psychic. The only change is to shatter the sky with a -2 mana cost. I believe, is this the one that spawned glass? Create floating glass shards on a tile within your line of sight. Before it cost 5, now it costs 3. That seems fine. I never really use this too much. I mean, spawning glass is okay. Again, if the enemy takes damage along the glass tile, they get bleed damage. It's not crazy, but it costing less, I think it's fine. Costing 5 before is a lot, so this makes sense. Fellas, next up is the Tank. Ass Blast. What is this one? Knock back units in an area near you 2 tiles. Now costs 1 less mana and additional knockback on it. So it went from 4 cost down to 3 cost and additional knockback to it. Okay. And then Clap costing 1 less mana as well. I believe this is the one where if there are 2 enemies in front of you, you can slam them together. Yeah, knock 2 enemies together in front of you. Before cost 3, now cost 2. That's fair. It's very hard to get off because you need 2 enemies in front of you. Also, this is a musical ability? Interesting. I never even knew that. I mean, yeah, it's part of the song Clap Your Hands. I get it. All right, boys. Next up is Thief. A few changes here, not many. Caltrops, +1 movement. The upgrade is +5 movement. Move up to 3 tiles, spreading glass shards on tiles you walk through. So you're saying this is additional movement. So you move through 4 tiles now. Okay. So just like the Psychic, they're buffing kind of glass-based abilities. Makes sense. They weren't that good. But the extra movement for Thief is very much great. Next up is Nail Flurry Plus. Now, from what I remember, Nail Flurry is really good. Throw 10 1-damage nails that ignore shield. The upgraded version, throw extra nails equal to your dex. Now, the change here, the multi-hit amount is now locked in when the ability is cast instead of updating mid-ability if dex is gained or lost. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because if you have an ability that gives you dex per hit, this would basically just cast forever and ever. It's just updating it so you're not getting as many endless loops, which is fine. You know, it makes the game a little more balanced, I would say. That's fine. Next up is Poison Gas, applying additional poison. Poison Gas is just inflict 1 poison on all units adjacent to you. So it's going to be +2 poison. Okay, just overall buff to the poison. That's fun. All right, Tinker's up next. I'm expecting another wall. Oh, not as much as the Mage. Okay, what do we got? Tinkerer, Basic, Craft, and Throw. AI is slightly better at sequencing these now. Okay, buffing the AI a bit, that's fine. Prefers to craft without wasting the move first. Prefers to use the weapon before throwing it. Makes sense. Added Blast Resistance status effect. Blast Resistance is added onto EMP, Mr. Mega, Napalm, and Demo Man Tinkerer passives. Interesting, because there are a lot of both passives and abilities that make it so whenever you take damage, an explosion happens around you or on you, and typically you would take that damage as the Tinkerer cat. But now it sounds like those abilities that were before to deal damage to yourself now make you blast immune, which seems great. Because I know EMP makes your explosions do 1 more range and do electric damage with explosions. Mr. Meg is additional range. Which one is Napalm? Because Napalm, your explosions inflict fire. Okay, so the same thing as EMP. And Demo Man. Which one's Demo Man? Always craft a bomb, attack 1 or less. Okay, so it's basically bomb-related stuff. You get blast resistance. Okay. Fabulous Pyromaniac is now in freaking Mewgenics. Oh, yeah. All right, next up, Throw Weapon. No longer costs an action to use. Okay. So you're saying as the Tinkerer, I can craft my thing. I can then use the weapon I craft. I can then throw it as well. Interesting. Okay, so there's a whole little loop there now. Because before, you cannot craft a weapon and throw it in the same turn. But now you can craft your weapon, use the weapon, throw the weapon, all in one turn. That seems great. That seems really good. That seems really, really good. Because now you can do things as well if you have things that give you tech, which increases like the quality of the items you craft. Basically, use your tech, craft your thing, use your thing, throw your thing, and then you can increase more tech for next round to do it again. That seems really good. Bomb Shoe, -2 mana. Build Nuke, -2 mana. So overall buffs these two. Which one are these again? Spawn a Bomb Shoe bot. Makes sense. Just costs two less mana. Now costs 5. Same thing, Build Nuke. Fellas, I'm going to throw a shot in the dark. Think is builds a nuke. Spawn a mini nuke that deals damage in a huge explosion. Before it cost 9, now it costs 7. So overall buffs to it. I don't think I would still ever take the build nuke. It seems scary, but it's fine. Next up is Conductor. Now makes your weapon inflict electric damage if you are wearing metal. Electric damage you deal is increased for 2 for each piece of metal armor you have equipped. Now it makes it so your weapon inflicts electric damage if you're wearing metal. Ooh, I'm assuming this is on top of the already existing Conductor passive. Of your electric damage is increased by 2 for each piece of metal equipment you have, and now your weapon always is going to inflict electric damage. So this can always go off. So it's not just electric damage you deal, but the fact that your weapon now does electric damage is going to get the buff of 2 damage. Seems like an overall great buff. Electrolyze, -2 mana on that guy. Electrolyze, you give your weapon +3 electric damage. Now it's -2 mana cost from 7 down to 5. Huge. Next up, EMP against one makes your explosions do 1 more range and also does electric damage. +1 explosion damage. Okay, just buffing the overall damage from your explosions. Your explosions and electric damage now deal +1 damage. So now it's explosion damage? But explosions also get +1 damage as well. So explosions also get the benefit of the EMP damage buff. That makes sense. Firecrackers now cost less. This is the one, I think I needed a buff for sure. It wasn't very good. But basically throw 3 small 1 damage explosions in an area. Costed 5 before, now cost 3. Ooh, that's a great buff. By great, I mean, it's kind of good now. 3 mana for 3 damage. I mean, you know, 1 for 1, I'll take it. Next up is Lightning Rod. Now grants tech instead of charge. Upgrade now grants energized. Interesting. Okay. Having additional things that apply tech sound fantastic. Again, before what this did, you have electric immunity. Electric damage you deal is increased by 1. Gain +1 charge when you are hit with electric damage. But now instead of getting charge, you get +1 tech, which means, again, the things you craft are going to be higher quality if you can get a lot of tech on your guy. Yeah, just having things that apply more tech is going to be great overall, I think. And getting energized. I'm curious, I know you can energize robots to give them an extra turn, but it sounds like whenever you get energized, you would get an extra turn. That would make sense to me. That seems good. Overall buff. Next up is Math. Now deals electric damage plus stuns on prime numbers. You son of a bitch. Honestly, man, that's actually really good. Hold on, that's actually crazy good, no? Okay, if you didn't know before what Math did, it basically it did damage based off the number of divisors. How do I say this? About as many numbers that can divide into the number. So if you have a number like 12, it did, because 1 and 12 go into 12. Because 2 and 6 go into 12. Plus 3 and 4 go into 12, it would do 6 damage. Okay, that's how that works. But now if it's a prime number, so if it's like 11, where only 1 11 go into it, instead of doing only 2 damage, it would now guarantee a stun, which is interesting. The upgrade now gives you tech on prime number instead of refunding the mana. Again, more things that apply tech. Seems good to me. The fact that you can guarantee a stun, that's really good, actually. It's such a funny change. I like that. I love that change. Next up is Mr. Mega, +1 blast radius, +2 explosion damage. Because before what it did, your explosions are larger and deal +1 damage. Now it's still larger, so +1 air. I'm curious if this +1 blast radius is increased even more. Because a larger area on explosions already were a thing. I'm assuming they're just increasing it even more. Again, I'm curious if it's, it's already +1. So is this number going to change to +2? Or are they adding 2 to this +1? So it's now +3. I got no clue. Either way, they're buffing it. So I'll take it. Napalm is applying more burn. And again, this is the one where your bombs now apply burn. So instead of applying burn 1, it's now burn 2. And Rocket Ride gets -2 mana cost. This is the one jump to any tile, explode when you land. Before costed 8, now to 6. Seems good. If you get one of those things that give you blast resistance, this seems really good. Because again, Napalm, Mr. Mega, whatever the other ones were. EMP, give you blast resistance now. Make Rocket Ride kind of crazy because it doesn't do damage to you anymore. All right, those are all the class changes, man. But for all the class changes, honestly, the fact that the throw weapon on the Tinkerer is no longer in action, that is really good. The fact that that's there and there are so many more things that apply tech, it's gonna make the Tinkerers pop off so much more. That also the Mage changes. The Mage changes are absolutely crazy, man. They are nuts. It's sad to say, fellas, Hunter did get a little shafted. They were a little strong. A few miscellaneous changes. I guess spoilers. Hitler's suicide could no longer miss. I could miss? Increase the shield amount on his explosive phase. Okay, because before, on normal difficulty, whenever Hitler killed himself, he got a 50 shield and before he exploded. I'm curious what the shield amount is now. It's probably going to be like 75 or 100, I would assume. Added +4 HP to the Fuhurphotoses. Forget what these guys are, but okay. Final boss and his cat clones are banned from rolling Depression Elite buff. That's actually great. If you don't know, the Depressing Elite buff basically made it so every single ally, I believe it gave your cats an all stats down as long as they are still alive. I think that's how it works, yeah. Chaos's form change now ignores combat speed, added +50 to Coven and Tormentor. Which one's the Tormentor? Hold on, they're buffing bosses, guys. A Torment. Oh, no, it's the big boss. Okay. So buffing the Act 2 bosses. Added +50 to Dreadnoughta's head and +2 damage to his legs. So this is the big dinosaur guy going to the past. +50 HP on the head, +2 damage on his legs. Overall buff to this guy. I mean, it makes sense. They're buffing a lot of the classes. Why not also buff the bosses that are a little underperforming? Makes sense. Cursed items and Parasite are no longer excluded from item degradation. Interesting. So you're saying if I have a cursed cat that has like a cursed item with it, their item could break. Interesting. I like that idea. Head mutation that gives you a bonus turn. Now it's -2 speed. Hold on. Wait a minute. Guys, every single one of my cats in my house has this head mutation to give them an extra turn. You're saying they all have -2 speed now? It's fine. That's fine. Their speed is actually crazy as is. That's perfectly fine. It makes sense. It was a really good mutation. That makes sense. But damn, my whole house took a hit. Spewer HP nerfed to 100. Fellas, sound the sirens. The HP nerfed, I think it was just 125 or 150 before. Now it's 100. And Stacy's base HP buffed to 125. They're buffing Stacy, nerfing Spewer. Fair. But overall nerf to Spewer. I'll take it. What else we got? Inventory slot sort order now matches the order shown on the cat. Thank you, Alex. I know you're watching the streams. I always complain about this because before... Sorry, Milo's here to watch look at the changes too. Milo, what are you doing, buddy? Anyways, thank you, Alex. Appreciate that change. What else we got? The Jester... Oh, what are we doing? What are we doing? What else we got? Jester Collar will always appear at the end of the class list, even if unlocked before the Monk. Okay, Alex is fixing my file up. Thank you. Because I did unlock the Jester before the Monk, and now it looks all funny. But now I guess it's going to be fixed. Inventory/furniture alphabetical sort lists now uses locals for sorting. Okay, just language fixes. Makes sense. The backpack button added to shop screens. Thank God. That was huge change right here. Being able to see my freaking cats and what they have while in the shop. Thank you. The tooltip for items with active abilities now shows the ability button in the tooltip. Okay, so just additional, like, visualizing information. Makes sense. Added elemental indicators to item buttons. Okay. Miscellaneous tooltip fixes. Miscellaneous fixes. Typos. Incorrect tiles. Fixed a rare cat tree C's art not matching. Okay. Loot cutscenes now all show a fallback cat. Milo, what do you think of the changes so far? But the looting cutscene, so like when you're looting like the end bosses, and now I'll show a fallback cat for moral support if you loot with only one cat in the party. Okay. Because before I know in like the Throbbing King area, if you loot the Throbbing King with only one cat, it shows a stem cat as like your party, even though they're not part of your squad. But I don't know if you did that anywhere else. It didn't show anybody behind you, but now it shows a guy. New cat vocal sound sets added. Bells, I'm sad to say I was not added. I still have yet to meow. One day I will, I'm sure. Added fallback behavior for another type of save file corruption. Some random rolls with a 0% or 100% odds will no longer advance the RNG. No idea what that means, but it seems like good changes. Well, fellas, those are the changes, man. A lot of class changes. I'm very excited to try the new Tinkerer. New Tinkerer, new Mage. I really want to get like a Frost build going with Blizzard. That seems like a lot of fun. But fellas, those are the changes. What do you guys think? What do you all think? Honestly, fellas, where does this put the Hunter? What tier are they going on the tier list now? It's no longer S tier. Scattershot got nerfed. 10 mana. Hunter's Boon got nerfed, kind of. Heavy Shot is kind of a weird buff nerf. Hunter, dare I say, B tier. Mage, S tier. Tinker, S tier. You heard it here first. Well, boys, thanks for watching. More Mewgenics stuff coming up, I'm sure. Say bye, Milo.